Welcome to the College Football Prediction Roundtable, presented here on the Bleacher Report app every Friday. We've got the gang back together because, last week was very interesting for only three of us. The fourth, we'll let him have his take his victory laps. I am one of your hosts, Jay. We have Steven from Fanatic Perspective. We've got Ty from Around the Table Sports and Nino from NinosCorner. Gentlemen, it's Friday. That means that football is literally 24 hours away. I am excited about this week. How's everybody doing?
Great.
What's going on, Jay? How we doing,
It'd be
everybody?
a lot better if Oregon State showed up.
Purdue, what happened? What happened, Purdue?
Look, Arizona did me dirty, and we understand that. So it's all right. We're going to go ahead and make best of what we have in front of us. As you see, Steven didn't say anything. Let's look at the standings for this season, and we're going to let, Steven have his victory lap, and I'll explain what the point system looks like.
Yeah, I need to investigate these standings here, and whatnot, and scrutinize the point system. But last week, I don't know if I had any errors. I did predict that Kentucky would cover versus Georgia.
Yes.
We suspected that Georgia's offensive issues post Todd Monken, post Brock Bowers, post Ladd McConkey would continue. And I told you guys, look, Mark Stoops and that Kentucky team wasn't as bad as we saw against South Carolina, and they were looking ahead. And I think we saw them potentially could have won that football game last week, quite frankly. But they played very well. I told you guys about Caden Durham and LSU against South Carolina. Look, this is one thing. We were all right about LSU, okay?
Yeah.
And for those of you jabronis out there in the chat who was UC Cock Cluck or whatever your name is, that said we were all idiots because nobody picked South Carolina. That's exactly why we didn't pick South Carolina. And I know you guys won't be here today to admit that you were wrong for calling us idiots for getting it correct. So I'm going to stand on that. Back to you, Jay.
Yeah, it's true. I appreciate it. The only game that you did miss was Missouri covering against Boston College. But besides that, you killed it. Arizona did me dirty. Oregon State did Ty dirty. And then Nino was taken down by Purdue. But, yeah, the scoring system is we get a point for wins, 3 points if it's a dog, 5 on the mortal locks. So, yeah, you're going to get a lot of, actually 3 on the mortal locks, 5 if it's a dog on the mortal lock. So a lot of interesting ways that they're doing it, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out. All right. Let's start jumping into these games. We appreciate y'all pulling up. Apologies for the delays. I broke something and the team fixed it for us. So we're going to go into the first game of the week. We've got 10 games and some spreads to talk about. First game, item up for bid. It's going to be Nebraska hosting Illinois. Big 10 matchup. Nebraska is a 7.5 point favorite in this game with the over-under sitting at 42.5. I'm going to keep it simple, guys. I don't need to go too long in this one. Ryan with Nebraska. Even though Illinois had a pretty impressive win against Kansas this season, and I haven't really seen Nebraska have a quote-unquote statement win. Sure, they beat Colorado in a rivalry game. I don't consider that much of a statement game. But Dylan Raiola has been playing very well for a freshman. And, 670-yard passing, 5 touchdowns. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. And they're not forcing him to do everything. And that's probably the best teacher we're getting out of this for a young quarterback. Give me Nebraska. I think they win this game pretty easily, at least by 10 points. Steven, who you riding with?
So this game is tonight, correct? This is a fun
yes,
Friday
7 p.m.
night. Yeah. So, Nebraska, Lincoln's going to be jumping. You got Dylan doing the whole Mahomes cosplay thing out there. I know they love it. Matt Rule's got we know Matt Rule in year 2 with these programs. At this point, there's so many data points on Matt Rule. Every single time he's at a program, year 2 is when they make that leap, and he's got a quarterback. I'm going with Illinois for the upset, y'all. Listen, I've been waiting for this game. Because Aaron Henry, who is the defensive coordinator at Illinois, who has been coaching their DBs for the last 4 years, is the best kept secret in all of college football. And the last 4 years, Illinois, by the way, as a program, has had 15 kids get drafted over the last 4 years, by the way. But Devin Witherspoon, Sidney Brown, all of these kids, all these DBs that got drafted, Terrence Brooks went and transferred over there and didn't even win a starting job at Illinois. And he was our number one corner last year. And he doesn't even start for those guys. Guys like Xavier Scott, Miles Scott, they already have 6 interceptions this year. They are going to cause some problems in the passing game for Nebraska. And they've got guys on offense as well. Zachary Franklin, UTSA receiver. Nino knows about Zachary Franklin. He went to Illinois. He had 2,000-yard seasons at UTSA. Plus Pat Bryant, the other guy who already has 4 touchdowns this year, Luke Altmaier, quarterback. I really like this Illinois team. I'm not a big Brett Bielema fan, but I love his defensive staff. I love those DBs. I think they're going to shock a lot of people tonight. Give me Illinois.
All right, Ty, who you riding with?
No, I thought long and hard about this game. I'm going to take Nebraska, but I am taking the under. I don't think they're going to beat Illinois by, what was the line, Jay, 7.5?
Yeah, 7.5, 42.5 over under.
I don't see that. I think this is going to be a slugfest. Illinois is a really, really good team. I just look at Nebraska right now. It's at home. Had this not been at home, I would probably feel different about this, but I love Steven's pick with Illinois because he makes a lot of really good points. But give me the Huskers because I just think they have some options.
We're riding the corn. Nino, you going to shock us as well?
I'm not going to shock you guys. I'm going with Nebraska, man. But everybody's talking about Baby Mahomes. Let's not talk about Baby Mahomes. Give that Husker defense some credit, man. They're a top 20 defense in the country, and they're number 16th in the defense against the run. What does Illinois do bad? They do bad at running the ball. And so I got a feeling that the Huskers are going to make this a one-dimensional game, and I got Nebraska winning. Close game, though. Very, very close game.
Sounds like Nebraska versus Colorado last week, 2 weeks ago, so makes sense. All right, next game. Let's ride with Clemson hosting North Carolina State. Early game in the ACC as the conference play is beginning. Clemson is a 19-point favorite. It opened at 16.5, and it has ballooned since with a total of 44.5. Give me Clemson. I saw NC State play against Tennessee. We'll talk about Tennessee, of course, later. And my God, they looked awful. Grayson McCall, I don't know what happened to him. It feels like some of these quarterbacks that show out at some of these G5s, they transfer up and they just forget how to play football again. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He has looked horrendous in bigger games, right? Now, it could be a testament that it was Tennessee. It could be that North Carolina State's fraudulent. We'll find out this week. But I think Clemson goes ahead, takes care of business at home. Klubnik, I guess, decides to show us that he's a 5-star. I don't know. He has the chance. I'll just put it that way. But give me Clemson. Steven, who you riding with?
So I'm not going to play any games here. I'm laughing at Willie's comment about riding the corn.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Happy Friday. You're very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But after you unpause this, Clemson. Give me Clemson here. I think they have embraced the youth movement finally. We saw some of these young brothers break out. You know, Bryant Wesco, big receiver recruit. TJ Moore. Antonio Williams needed some help. So now they got potentially 3 receivers for Klubnik to work with. I like Phil Maffa. The Clemson defense with Thou Shall Not Be Named because Ty is on here is also very, very good. And I think NC State they just haven't gotten what they paid for out the portal. Let's just keep it a buck. So give me Clemson here.
Ty, who you riding with?
Yeah, and because I appreciate what you just did so much, Stephen, I will let the people know who Thou Shalt Not Be Named is. He is my own personal Voldemort. It is Peter Woods. He came from the state of Alabama. Alabama was in the running, goes to Clemson, and the guy is sensational. So I really do appreciate that. I'm taking Clemson in this game. I think their defensive front is going to give problems to a NC State offensive line that coming into the year was looked at as one of the better units out there, but has left a little bit to be desired. NC State hasn't gotten it together offensively quite yet, and I think it's very tough to do so against a defensive front as good as Clemson. So give me Clemson.
Nino, wrap us up.
Man, clean sweep. Give me Clemson, man. Clemson has all the talent here, man, on defense. The only thing with Clemson is that Clemson, they don't have the depth, right? So Dabo not using like the transfer portal, right? They don't have the depth, which is what actually lost them the actual first game, against Georgia this year. So give me Clemson, man. I saw Tennessee put up 51 against NC State here about 2 weeks ago, and I got a feeling that Clemson's going to run away with this game.
Love it. All right. That means fade us, guys, because y'all know what that typically means. Next game up, we've got USC traveling into Big Ten country that they actually said that came out of their own mouths on social media. Anyway, they're supposed to be coming from Big Ten country. Going to Michigan. Right now, USC is a 5-point favorite. Depending on what book you look at, the total is 43.5. I looked at this game and I asked myself, why is everybody betting on USC and the spread's going down? That to me smells like trap. It smells to me that Vegas says, please bet more on USC. Give me Michigan to win this one. They're at the house. They still have quarterback issues, but I think at some point they'll figure it out. But I think if anything, I think USC goes in there and Michigan goes in there and overpowers USC coming across. That's just what Michigan does. I think I like Miller Moss a lot. He is balling, but I think Michigan's defense will be prepared finally now that, Sharon Moore has a contract. Give me Michigan. Steven, who you riding with?
I mean, you guys are giving so much, benefit of the doubt to Michigan when they keep showing you who they are this season. At this point, how much more do you need to see? I mean, who has the better coach? USC, I would say. Who has a better quarterback? USC, I would say. Who has the more explosive weapons? USC. And defensively, Michigan, their pass rush has been extremely overrated this year. They're not getting pressure like you thought they would with Wink Martindale, Mason Graham. Just like they're not playing as well as they did under Jesse Minter last year with the crew. I just look at, guys like Kyron Hudson, who made some unbelievable catches in the LSU game, Zachary Branch, Kyle Ford, Deuce Robinson. They're bringing – Miller Moss has some options out there. And then so Alex Orji, is he going to – same thing I said about Texas. Are you going to put up 24, 27 points, Michigan, and be able to really move the football, not just on the ground? Because now with Coach Lynn there defensively, I don't think that they'll just be able to run the ball just straight down their throats. I do think they will have success on the ground, but I don't think they'll have enough success on the ground. Give me USC here. Just logically, I can't. Big House isn't enough for me. I'm sorry. Give me USC.
That's fair.
And I think there's still some questions here about Michigan's offense and being able to score enough points to win games in the Big Ten.
And that's very fair because, you've been there, so you totally understand exactly the way Michigan plays. So can't even argue it, right? That logic is there. Can't just say the Big House. Ty, who you riding with?
Give me USC, and I'm going to tell you why. Orji is starting in this game for Michigan, right? Well, here's the thing. He is, this season, 3 for 6 with a 50% completion percentage for 15 yards. If we want to look at his entire career, gentlemen, he's 4 for 7 for 20 yards throwing the football. In 3 years of college football, he is 4 for 7 for 20 yards. To me, that means, okay, and now don't get me wrong, he is a phenomenal athlete. He is a danger on the ground, unbelievable there. But if I'm a defensive coordinator and I know you can't throw the football, that makes it much easier to stop. Whereas when I look at USC, don't punt it to Branch because he could take it all the way. Don't kick it to Branch. He could take it all the way. Steven, you talked about it. They had guys making plays, and this is not an Alex Grinch-led USC defense anymore. Lynn came in there.
Mm-hmm.
They got Coach Henney on the defensive line. Matt Ince was a former head coach at linebacker. Doug Belk in the secondary. Alabama fans, you'll know about Doug Belk. I like USC just because Michigan, even though I like some of their pieces, I just don't quite know how they keep up in this game if they continue playing in the manner we have seen them play.
I'm with you there. And someone in the comments made a great point. They had 2 weeks because they had last week off to prepare for this game. So I may be
and the week before they beat Utah State 48-0. So they still stood on business after the LSU game. Where they normally would fall off.
Fair point. Nino, what you got?
I got USC, man. They're going to tear apart Michigan, man. Look here. Steve Sarkisian put a masterclass on that defense of Michigan. There's only 2 other head coaches that are great, minds when it comes to just strictly offense that I trust just as much as, Sark, and that is Lane Kiffin. And that is USC's head coach, Lincoln Riley. Okay, those 2 are master classes at offense. Texas put up 7 plays of 15 yards or more against Michigan. I look for USC to do the same thing, if not more. Sark actually pulled off the gas in that game. I don't think Lincoln Riley does that. USC wins that. And I'm trying to figure out what are my boys laughing at, but let me check this chat right quick.
Is Kalen DeBoer minced meat?
Yeah. Disrespect for Kalen DeBoer is just hilarious. Ty is just baffled. He's flabbergasted. Look at his face. He's turning red. Sorry, Nino.
Nino, you excluded Kalen DeBoer from the Sark and Lincoln Riley.
And Lane Kiffin.
No,
you picked
look here, man.
Lane over Kalen DeBoer. Ty's gonna lose his mind. All right.
I'm so nervous.
You know I like Kalen DeBoer. Come on, Ty. You know I like Kalen DeBoer.
Next game, we've got a SEC Big Ten matchup. UCLA travels down to Death Valley to play against LSU. LSU is a 22.5-point favorite in this game. Look, after all the luck and blessings that LSU received in this last game, now they're at the crib against a team that I'm surprised won a game. I'm going to go with LSU. We're going to make it quick. Look, LSU finally found themselves a run game by actually playing freshman Caden Durham. That offensive line now has looked like what it was supposed to look like. Caden Durham actually was able to produce some run yards behind them. He had 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. And as much as we've preached about LSU's offensive line, the fact that now this freshman is running behind it and looking good, I got to go ahead and ride with them in this game because I don't know what UCLA does well. So go ahead and give me LSU. Steven, who you riding with?
I want to show some, one of the Gamecock people showed up here, and I do want to give them respect. Even though the brother came in here with excuses, blaming the zebras, at least he showed up. So
we appreciate
anyway, one of the things we saw, respectfully, one of the things we saw though was LSU. This is why people get so frustrated with BK, because you go and drop the USC game and your team is undisciplined, as they always are in openers. But then you have your team is also down on the road in a hostile environment, 17-0. Everything looks lost. And then we see the LSU talent and the team that I thought we would see, and they come back and storm back and win that football game. UCLA stinks. So give me LSU. Ethan Garbers, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. He's also their leading rusher with 68 yards through 2 games. And he's completing, I think, a little over 50% of his passes. That's some of the worst quarterback play in the country. This UCLA team just lost so much, including Lynn, who's now at USC, as well as all those guys in the NFL. So LSU cruises at home in this one.
That makes sense. Deshaun Foster just wishes he had the problems that Brian Kelly has right now. Ty, what you riding with?
Does UCLA have Dylan Stewart? If the answer is no, then I'm going LSU, right? Dylan Stewart is on a different level. South Carolina fans, I recognize that, but we told you. We did tell you. Even though the refs did do y'all dirty, Listen, it worked out for me, so I apologize, but I'll take that 10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times. LSU's going to win this game. I'm just still waiting for, the LSU offense to really take shape. Tough for me to criticize too much about them not looking spectacular for most of the game against South Carolina, because South Carolina is much better than I think anybody anticipated coming into the season, but UCLA has not been that. They miss Lynn bad, and USC is very happy that they have him.
All right, Nino, wrap us up. Clean sweep?
Clean sweep. Clean sweep, fellas. Come fade us. All right. Hey, man, give me LSU. LSU's going to win this game. They finally got themselves a running game, folks. Caden Durham, young running back freshman out of Duncanville High School. He was a monster in high school, folks. 2-time state champion out of Duncanville High School. Folks, everybody in the country wanted this guy, especially late. LSU came in and got him pretty early, man. And look, that was a great pickup for them. It's a shame that, he didn't play a lot in their first game. Maybe things would have been a little bit different. But LSU's found their guy. Give me LSU to win big.
Good stuff. All right. Next item up for bid. We've got Georgia Tech traveling to number 19, Louisville, playing the Cardinals. Right now, Louisville is a 10.5-point favorite with the total sitting at 57.5. This one I struggled with. This will be Georgia Tech's 5th game. This will be Louisville's 3rd game of the season. I know, right? A little weird that one team's on their 5th and one's only on their 3rd. Louisville had a bye week last week, so it gives them some extra week of preparation. And I'm going to go ahead and ride with the home team with Louisville. That 10.5 is intriguing to see that the odds makers still do not believe in Georgia Tech for some reason. Like, you would think that after the Florida State game and after the battle they had with Syracuse, that they would be like, okay, we'll show them a little love and keep these spreads lower. Nah, they don't believe in Georgia Tech whatsoever. So they're going to have to pull a miracle out to win this game. Give me Louisville. I think they go out there and they just muscle their way to a W and call it a day. Steven, who you got?
I got Louisville here. They've got, like you mentioned, the 2 weeks prep. Tyler Shuck's playing some of the best football of his career. Honestly, health has really been his biggest issue. And he's really, really been banged up at Oregon as well as Texas Tech. So it's good to see him playing really, really good football, healthy under Jeff Brom. And they have a really good balanced team. Also with Georgia Tech, the Florida State win, I mean, what is that? What does that even mean? Florida State hasn't won a football game this year.
I'll tell you what it means.
They haven't won a football game this year. And they might go 0-4 losing to Cal this week. I don't know if they're going to beat Cal.
Hey.
I'm serious. So
Hey.
you beating a 0-3, 0-4 football team in Ireland, I don't know what to take away from that. Give me the better team on paper, Louisville here, and I'm going to keep it moving.
All right, Ty, who you riding with?
It's the way he said Ireland just sent me. The disrespect of the location in Ireland.
Play all places, Ireland.
I'll tell you what beating Florida State means. It means absolutely nothing. It means less than nothing. Right now, Florida State couldn't beat themselves. It's some of the most abysmal football I've ever seen. They don't know what they're doing. They got a quarterback out the transfer portal that has so many years of film, and Mike Norvell is surprised by what they're getting. That's a you problem, Mike Norvell. Congratulations. Moving on to this game, though. I'm going to take Louisville because it is at home. Shuck is playing great football, and I really like one of their wide receivers, guys. Ja'Cory Brooks transferred from Alabama. This is a guy that showed up big his first year at Alabama. It never really came to fruition in the way that I had hoped, but I still think he is an extraordinarily talented young man, and I'm very excited to see what he does. But I agree with everybody in saying this was a tougher game for me to pick. Give me Louisville, though.
All right, Nino, wrap us up.
All right, guys, come fade us again, man. I got Louisville too, but I feel like Ty is reading my notes, man, because I want to talk about Ja'Cory Brooks, but Ty, you took the words out of my mouth, man. Look, Louisville has one of the best pass blocking offensive lines in the country. And Georgia Tech ranks in the bottom third in pass defense. That's all that I need to see for this game. I think Brooks is going to have a monster game this game. Give me Louisville. It is going to be a close game, though, folks. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be probably 7 points, not the full 10. Give me 7 points, but I like Louisville in this game.
Yeah, Georgia Tech run game with Haynes and Haynes King, Jamel Haynes,
tough.
They're formidable.
It's tough, man.
So it will be close. Yep. It will be close, but Louisville's the better team.
The law firm of Haynes and Haynes, I could totally see that. All right, next game. We've got Utah traveling to Big 12 country. Their first game in the Big 12 against Oklahoma State. Now, right now, Oklahoma State's only a 2.5-point favorite in this game. And it appears that this game is right there. Now, Cam Rising is expected to play. And he's coming off that finger injury, one of the many 15 injuries he's had in the last, 10 years that he's played college football. I worry about his health. But if there's one thing that I've heard everybody on this panel say, defense is travel. Utah's always got a defense. Kyle Whittingham's always got them prepared. They always play solid defense. They're going to have to stop Ollie Gordon. That's going to be a tall task for one of the nation's top running backs. Go ahead and give me Utah. I think they go there and pull the upset. First year in conference. I think that they're walking in to take the crown. Now that Oklahoma and Texas is gone from the conference, they're going to say this is going to be ours moving forward. And they're kind of owning it. So I think that Utah goes in there and they pull the upset in a very close one. Probably a last-second field goal to win this game. Steven, who you got?
I think Utah is the better football team. I think Utah is the better football coach. But I think these things are very, very close. And I do think it matters with the health thing. And I think when two teams are this close in terms of what they are on paper and what them as contenders in the Big 12, I don't think this is the first football game they play this season. And I think Oklahoma State is going to win the first game. But I think Utah's going to end up winning the game that really matters. So give me Oklahoma State for tomorrow. But I'm saying that with the caveat of this is round one. I don't think that this is the last time they will see each other. I think Kansas State will have something to say about that, of course, because Kansas State's going to get their shot in a couple weeks. But right now, I think Oklahoma State wins round one.
All right. Ty, who you riding with?
Give me Utah. Cam Rising being back in this game, I think, is big. I really like Kyle Whittingham. I've said for a long time, I think he's probably one of the most underrated coaches in all of college football. Always has a great team, great defense. Jay, you talked about Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon is sensational. My question is, and everybody said this when they played Arkansas, and Arkansas handed them that game with some of the worst clock management I've ever seen in a football game. That was abysmal. They should have left Pittman on the tarmac right then and there. But Arkansas didn't take Ollie Gordon out the game. Oklahoma State took him out the game by refusing to use him. Like, are they going to overthink this as well and just not use Ollie Gordon? I don't know. I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I agree with Steven. This is not the first matchup. I just think Utah gets this one.
All right, Nino.
First off, man, I just want to let everybody know this is the AARP Bowl because we got two quarterbacks that have been on each other's teams for about 9 years right now, maybe 15. So in saying all that, man, look, I got Oklahoma State winning this game because it's in Oklahoma State. I like Ollie Gordon. He just might be the best back in college football right now. Look, I love Cam Rising, but he stays injured too much. How healed is that hand this week? He is playing, so it's actually good enough for him to play. But give me Oklahoma State in a very close game at home. And like Steven said, man, I don't think this is going to be the last time that these two play.
I want to add one other tidbit here that I didn't mention
Go
before.
ahead.
Alan Bowman has had some big games passing the football as well. So they're not just – and I know Ty made a good point about them taking him away, but they are balanced offensively, and they have the most veteran offensive line in the country, as Nino talks about AARP. So the pass game, I think, that's the balance that you need to go up against a Utah. They're not one-dimensional.
That's a fair point there. All right, next game. It's going to be a fun one. We've got Miami traveling down to South Florida to match up with the Bulls. That one's at 6 p.m. game tomorrow. Miami is a 17-point favorite in this game right now. And I don't know if that spread is big enough. Give me the Canes. Look, Cam Ward has been cooking. Cam Ward it just feels right now for Miami. And as much as they have gotten a lot of praise from the mainstream media, they're starting to look like the way they're supposed to look. The talent is there. Cam Ward is elite, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, and only 1 pick. He makes great decisions, and he can use his legs. Martinez, they use him when they need to. But it appears that Ward is really that team. And honestly, he's going to be in the conversation for Heisman if he keeps this up. I'm going to take Miami, and I think Miami just blows them out. Steven.
Yeah, Miami, they just, the firepower. The last time we talked about them and why I was so excited to pick them over Florida was to see they're the opposite of Florida State when it comes to the transfer portal. Florida State wants a refund on everything that they bought. Miami got everything, and they probably underpaid, right? Like for everything that they got. I actually think with Todd Orlando, one of the reasons why when we'd even consider South Florida is because freaking Ty's team over here made them look good, and Todd Orlando was out here cranking these blitzes, but got that they have that counterbalance with Martinez to be able to run them out of so many of those looks and then open things up for Cam Ward. I agree with Jay. I think they cover, and there's no way all my Cuban and Haitian brothers are going to allow this to go down in South Florida with Miami getting upset by South Florida. Do you know what would happen to Mario Cristobal if this occurred? No way. Give me Miami. I'm going to leave it at that, Jay.
All right. I appreciate that. Ty, who you got?
Give me Miami. And to speak on South Florida, I think they're a solid team. I really love what Golesh is doing. But to Steven's point, do y'all want to know why USF had success against Alabama? Alabama had their left tackle out there, All-American left guard, then moved out to left tackle, which might as well be talking a different language, right, in terms of playing guard to tackle. Brand new offensive line blocking scheme, and the right tackle was out as well. You went up against an aggressive defense that was going to cause chaos for an offensive line that was patchworked. Miami doesn't have that issue. Listen, I've had some questions about Mario in the past, but there is one aspect I will never question about Mario Cristobal, and that is his ability to put together unbelievable offensive lines. And they are not going to struggle with the blitz because they have far more seniority on that offensive line than did Alabama against Todd Orlando, where Alabama went from just kind of this odd stonewall blocking scheme last year to the polar end of the spectrum and pin and pull, and was down basically 3 guys on that offensive line. Give me Miami big.
Nino, wrap us up.
Come fade us. I got the U winning this one, baby. I got the U winning this one. Look here, man. Michael Irvin will be proud of me for saying that right now. Look here, man. I got two guys that are leading for me when it comes to Heisman. And I think that's going to be Jalen Milroe and Cam Ward. All right. Now, Cam Ward cannot afford to lose games because they have such an easy schedule. But Cam Ward is looking like the clear runner. He's running away right now with the Heisman if he continues at this pace. I got a feeling that they're going to cover big in this game. Cam Ward's out to prove a point. He's out to be one of the top picks in the draft this coming year. And I got Miami winning big time.
All right. Next game, College Game Days in town. We've got the Tennessee Volunteers traveling to Oklahoma. Right now, the Vols are a 6.5-point favorite on the road with the over-under sitting at 56.5. Now, it's funny because we started, Nino's very intrigued by my pick because if you know me, followed me for a while, I live in Oklahoma and I'm an Oklahoma fan, but I've always rooted for Tennessee as well. So for me, it's kind of a conflicted one. Nico Ilamiava is out here doing well, but that Tennessee run game is nasty, man. Dylan Sampson, 357 yards, 9 touchdowns. That Josh Heupel offense rides off that run game. as y'all can see, they were trying to silence your boy in the middle of his sermon, and it's all right. We about to give you the word. So, Oklahoma and Tennessee in Norman College game day. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat myself. The best part is this is Josh Heupel returning home to Norman. He's playing against Brent Venables, who was the defensive coordinator when he was quarterback. He is the last defensive coordinator that he saw when he played at Oklahoma, when he coached at Oklahoma, because they played against Clemson in the Russell Bowl game. So I'm just going to go ahead and just make it simple. I'm picking Oklahoma, y'all. I think that this is an opportunity for upset. Tennessee has not seen a defense like Oklahoma's right now. They haven't. No one's actually tried them, and they have a young quarterback. Brent Venables likes young quarterbacks and likes to try to make things difficult for them. It's going to be a blowout on either side? No. I've said even before the game started, it was going to probably be no more than a 4-point game either side. I'm going to go ahead and ride with Oklahoma, though. I think that they create some turnovers that goes their way. Sooner Magic makes it happen. Give me the Sooners. Steven, go ahead and roast me.
I have several different chats going on where I told people their football reason will be Sooner Magic. And Jay fell right into the trap. So let's talk football. We want to talk about young quarterbacks. Let's talk about young quarterbacks, Jay. Jackson Arnold, so far he has not thrown for 200 yards in a game yet, and it's been 3 games. 174 is the most he's thrown for, on top of, the issues with the offensive line, whoever you want to put it on, the lack of running game that I'm not used to from an OU football team. Normally, you guys are as balanced as anybody. Bill Bedenbaugh, one of the best in the country. I still think he is. But there's real offensive issues in Norman against far lesser teams than what Tennessee is coming in there with. This is the Heupel Bowl. Josh Heupel, by the way, of all these great OU quarterbacks, the last OU quarterback to win a national championship for OU. I think he comes in there, he sends a message. I think Tennessee is going to blow out OU in Norman. I don't think this game is going to be close. And when I say blowout, I say more than, I think, by 2 touchdowns. I look at Nico, and yes, while he is a young quarterback, that bear and shoot, what they have going on there, I think there's going to be too much leverage put on a very, very, very good OU defense, and they're going to have to be on the field too much, and eventually that's going to lead to fatigue and other issues going on. The grass over there seems to be fatigued as well. So, there's just a lot of challenges going on in Norman right now that are unspeakable, but give me Tennessee, and give me Tennessee big in this game.
Ty.
I'm going to take the Volunteers, and I'm going to tell you why. Jay, you were right when you said Tennessee hasn't faced a defense as good as Oklahoma's. Fair. Oklahoma hasn't faced an offense that can even be considered in the same stratosphere as Tennessee's. And Tulane's quarterback, bless him, had some egregious misses where they were getting open in those out routes, and he was underthrowing them, overthrowing them, nobody within 5 yards. Tennessee hits those out routes at a high rate. They spread you into basically 3 parts of the field. You have to pick. Are we going to go 2 high safety? Sorry, Mel Kiper. Or are we going to go 1 high safety and try and account for the run? If Oklahoma drops 1 safety into the box, that's going to just be for Josh Heupel. And I like Oklahoma's defense a lot. I love what they're doing. But to me, Oklahoma's offense has not shown us that they're going to be able to score with a team. And look, this is by far and about the best defense Oklahoma has seen as well. James Pierce has played something like 30 snaps. He's going to be unleashed on an offensive line for Oklahoma that didn't keep Jackson Arnold upright in some of the other games. I know new pieces are coming back, but you had to replace your entire offensive line. They have not been able to gel together. I do disagree with Steven here. I have this 27-24 Tennessee.
All right. Nino, wrap us up. We know what direction you're going.
Hey, man, I'm picking Tennessee, man. Look here. Tennessee has the 2nd-ranked rushing offense here in the country, but lucky for OU, OU has only allowed 230-something yards rushing for their entire season on defense, but that's not going to be the killer. The killer for OU is going to be that OU's pass defense is ranked around 50 or 60th in the country. So when you look at that, OU's pass defense is allowing about 6.5 yards per attempt and 11 yards per completion. Put that into perspective, like Bama. Bama, they average 3.2 yards per attempt and about 6.2 yards per completion. Georgia, 4.2 yards per attempt and 7.4 yards per completion. Oklahoma is averaging 11 yards per completion on defense, 6.52 per attempt. Tennessee passes the ball damn well. It's going to be the Nico versus Jackson show, and I think it's going to be Nico all day long. I like Tennessee to cover in this game in Oklahoma.
All right. Next item up for bid, we've got Kansas State traveling Big 12 matchup against BYU. BYU's second Big 12 season. Yeah. First time, I think, playing Kansas State. Kansas State is a 7-point favorite on the road with an over-under sitting there at 48.5. And I think that Kansas State figures it out. Give me the Wildcats. Avery Johnson he's been solid, but Gittins has been running all over the place. 49 carries, 324 yards, and a touchdown. And BYU, as strong as their defense is, their quarterback who's been there for 3 years, seems like the same dude that was there 3 years ago. So there's still a lot of questions around that. Talked to some BYU buddies, and they're just like, yeah, we just hope the game is close. Just because, and they don't understand why the young quarterback that they have behind Retzlaff is not playing. So, yeah, we're just going to ride with that. Give me Kansas State. I think they win this one. And I think it's a close one, though, because BYU Stadium is pretty tough to play there. And it's probably going to be looking beautiful out there. So, at 65 degrees, that's like perfect football weather. Give me Kansas State. Steven, who you got?
Give me Kansas State here. I'll make it pretty quick. BYU is undefeated at 3-0, but they haven't. Wyoming's horrible. They're 0-3. Kansas State's battle tested, man, and they seem to define their identity. I love what's going on under Chris Kleiman on both sides of the ball. Balanced football team, like I said, they're going to be. I think Kansas State's going to be undefeated when they have their showdown later on against Oklahoma State or Utah, both teams which they play later. But as they compete in the Big 12. They're that third horse in there. I don't think that BYU has enough, as well coached as they are and improved from last season. I still like Kansas State.
All right. Ty, who you riding with?
Yeah, I'm going to take Kansas State in this one, but I don't think they cover. We'll get to that a little bit later. This is going to be a game at elevation in Provo. BYU is a solid team. Kansas State is battle-tested. Ultimately, I like them to get the victory, so give me the Wildcats.
Oh, simple. Nino.
Hey, man. I'm picking Kansas State, so come fade us again, folks. Kansas State's going to win this game, man. They got a three-headed monster when it comes to running the ball. Avery Johnson, Giddens, and also Stewart. Man, Avery Johnson can run the ball, folks. If you haven't seen him run the ball as a quarterback, that dude's fast, man. He's wicked fast, like 10-3, 10-4, So, look, man, give me Kansas State, and I think they do cover in this game.
Ooh, all right. Next game. As we wrap it up on the games and head into the spreads in a moment, we've got Vanderbilt. 2-1 Vanderbilt, that is, traveling to Missouri. Unfortunately, they failed on the opportunity to cover the win total on the season last week on the road, but whatever. They are 20-point dogs on the road against Missouri. And look, the way that Missouri played against Boston College put me at pause. But we all know that Boston College is pretty solid overall, right? Boston College missed on so many opportunities to win that game. It's all on them. It's more them than it would be Missouri. Vanderbilt walks in there with Pavia, who has shown up in some bright spots, but looked not so great against Georgia State. I'm going to go ahead and go with Missouri. I think they win this game. I don't think they cover, though. I think it'll be the second week that they don't cover the spread. I think Pavia becomes a little bit of a problem as far as running that offense and running all over them, similar to what Boston College did. I think they don't miss on as much as Boston College did in this game, but the game should still be a close one. I'll take Missouri to win this game. Steven, who you got?
I got Missouri. I think they had their wake-up call last week against Boston College. You talk about what, gave you pause. Vanderbilt losing the game to Georgia State gave me pause. That's what gave me pause. Yeah. So, if we're just doing a pick 'em, I got to go with Mizzou here in terms of them just playing better football this week and getting off to a much better start. Once they woke up against Boston College, their talent showed out. Luther Burden and those guys woke up and they did what they had to do. I expect them to go down to Nashville and handle their business. Pavia, again, very exciting player in what they're doing, especially, both sides of the ball and competing. But Missouri wins this game, and I think they actually cover.
All right, Ty, who you got?
Missouri. Listen, I'm not going to be picking Vanderbilt anytime soon until November 2nd, where Diego Pavia takes down Auburn once again. But until that point, they're still a little suspect and got to prove something to me.
Nino.
Come fade us again, man. Georgia State just beat Vandy. Enough said. Missouri's going to win this game pretty easy.
All right. Rapid fire on these spreads, these high spreads. First game, Ohio State, Marshall. Ohio State is a 39.5-point favorite in this game. Yeah, give me Ohio State to cover that spread. Steven?
I'm going Marshall to cover, which is I know it's I think they're better than people realize. They played, now this is going to sound crazy, but that Marshall Virginia Tech game means a lot in that part of the country, and they played them pretty well. I think that they've found some things offensively, and they keep it close enough. I think they put up some points on the board against Ohio State. Ohio State runs away with this, but I could see it being, with the spreads, 40 points or something like that. I could see it being, I could see it being a 48-17 type game where they get by. Give me Marshall.
Ty, who you got?
To cover.
Yeah, give me Ohio State to cover. Marshall, listen, it's intriguing. They have that all-you-can-eat biscuit NIL deal, and that's nice. But I don't think what's going to happen on Saturday is going to be nice.
Yeah, I love all-you-can-eat biscuits. Nino.
Give me Ohio State, man. I don't got no comments after the all-you-can-eat biscuit buffet. All right, I'm good.
Yeah, you cooked us all with that one, Ty. Great job. Well played, my friend. All right, Penn State, Kent State is our next game on the spread. Penn State is a 49-point favorite in this game. Jeez, everyone hates Kent State. After what Penn State did to me against Bowling Green, I still want to get hurt. Give me Penn State to cover the spread. Hopefully they finally do something to go ahead and do that. There's no reason why Vegas should have them this high. This is ridiculous. That number is too high. Give me Penn State. Steven.
I think the number's too high. Give me Kent State. I don't trust Penn State anymore in these situations. I don't. I'm with Jay. I'm a little bit further along than you are. Give me Kent State to cover.
Look, I'm going to still trust Penn State to finally do something, but we'll see. But you're right. Ty, who you got?
Give me Penn State to cover, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Is somehow I am frozen, but don't read too much into that. I'll tell you what else is frozen, and that's Kent State's football chances, because they are statistically one of the worst teams in college football right now. So if James Franklin doesn't cover this, we have bigger questions.
You probably should fire him at that point. Nino, who you got?
Hey, man, I got Penn State as well. I think they do cover. Man, I just saw Tennessee put up, 63 points in the first half against
71.
Them? Was it 63?
Oh, yeah, 63 in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, in the first half, right? And they eased up the gas and still got 71 points. Come on, Penn State, man. You gotta cover this week, man. You gotta cover, dog. All right, I'm good.
No excuses. Last game, no excuses. Texas and University of Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks. Texas is a 44-point favorite. Arch Manning appears to be starting, and he's going to be battling against General Booty, right? The Mannings and the Booties have a rivalry, right? I mean, Louisiana people, right? Josh Booty, John David Booty played at USC, right? Abram Booty, similar to Cooper Manning, played wide receiver instead of quarterback, but now both their boys are starting quarterbacks at their teams. Yeah, I think Texas covers the spread. I don't know anything about Louisiana Monroe to make me believe that they have the opportunity. I like General Booty. I have the General Booty shirts because he was a quarterback here at Oklahoma at one point. But I don't think they're going to be able to get enough points to not lose 50-0. Give me Texas to cover this one. Steven?
Before the ULM defensive coordinator opened his mouth this week, I would have considered having them cover, considering I don't know how many running backs we'll have healthy. I think we're going to sit a lot of guys this week for health reasons before they open SEC play. However, once he opened his mouth, now we got to stand on business. So give me Texas to cover. We saw what Sark did last week when the UTSA kid opened his mouth. He had to go ahead and embarrass Cuz. So I think it's going to be similar to that.
Ty.
Why did the UTSA players say anything? They're awful this year. They are terrible. They are like egregiously bad. Texas covers this game. Even with a running back room for Texas that is depleted, it is still so talented. Do not conflate injury, like an injured room, with a talentless room. That room with Blue is still unbelievable. I don't think he'll be playing, but Sark will scheme something up. Give me Texas.
Texas covers, man. Sark's in his bag right now. I think we're seeing what Sark is doing now is he is starting to keep his foot in the gas, except against Michigan. I was a little mad about the Michigan game, but every other game this year he has kept his foot in the gas and he's covered. So, man, Texas covers this game.
All right, mortal locks as we wrap things up. Give me Nebraska. I think they go ahead and start off Big Ten play strong. Nebraska is my mortal lock of the week. Steven.
My mortal lock is Michigan State plus 6.5, or whatever the spread is. Yeah, 6.5 over Boston College. I'm not sure if Michigan State will win the game, but I think they will cover against BC. Michigan State, them winning that Maryland game kind of surprised me, and I think Jonathan Smith and Aiden Childs and those guys are starting to get some things together offensively and really figure out their identity. I also think that Boston College might have a little bit of a letdown off of a game they probably could have won last week in Mizzou. So I like Michigan State to cover.
Ty.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to take a game we talked about earlier. While I like Kansas State to win, give me BYU to cover at home, at elevation. Kansas State, how often do they go play in elevation? Right? Provo is a spot where it's a great place to play. I like BYU to try and mitigate some of what Kansas State does well, so I like BYU to cover this game.
Ooh, and Nino, wrap us up.
Hey, man, Texas Tech is favored by 2.5 points to beat Arizona State. I got Arizona State just outright winning this game at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, man, Abilene Christian, 52-51 at Texas Tech. Texas Tech loses to Washington State, giving up 300 yards rushing. You know what I'm saying? UNT, they beat UNT 66-21. Sorry, Ty. But Arizona State has this quarterback by the name of Sam Levitt, who is not only a good passer, but a hell of a rusher as well. Give me Arizona State to win this game. I just didn't like Texas Tech giving up more than 6 yards per rush against Washington State and getting plowed. So give me Arizona State to win this game.
Hey, yo.
That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Hey,
how many pauses do we have to drop?
Hey, are we? One game I was this close to putting was Arkansas plus 2.5 versus Auburn, but we'll see.
That was a good one.
After what Sam Pittman did to me a few weekends
Never
ago,
again.
No, never
again.
again.
Never again. All right. So
almost made me pick Auburn.
Yeah, that would have been egregious. So, all right, here's our final picks for the week. It looks like it's going to be a fun one. And, y'all got to let us know what y'all think in the comments. Thank y'all for pulling up to the College Football Prediction Roundtable here on the Bleacher Report app. We do this every single Friday, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. I'm Jay with Unfair Sports, Steven, Fanatic Perspective, Ty,
Around the
Table
his name.
Sports. I know, right? And Nino from Nino's Corner. Look, man, we've had internet issues. It's been a fun day, but we appreciate y'all pulling up. And yeah, we will talk to y'all next week.